This is Chad Nesbitt, and this is my commentary. There's been a lot of talk about monuments being taken down because they honor people that were slave owners or have Confederate backgrounds. Our Vance monument behind me has recently been under scrutiny by Asheville Mayor Esther Manheimer as she called for the monument to be taken down. So after all of this, I did some research on who was Asheville, North Carolina named after, and if Asheville was named after a slave owner, would the mayor try and rename our beautiful city? The city of Asheville was named after this guy. His name is Samuel Ashe, and he was the governor of North Carolina. Ashe and his family owned a piece of property called Sloop Plantation in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, where they owned 712 slaves over several years. The slaves lived in a two-story slave house with bunk beds such as these. So after learning that the city of Asheville was named after a slave owner, I got to wondering, what else is named around here after a slave owner? Well, according to the Buncombe County Register of Deeds, there is a bunch, and let me just name off a few and see if you recognize them. Woodfin, Patton, McDowell, Baird, Weaver, Merriman, and Reynolds. All of these familiar names are Buncombe County towns, streets, park buildings, and a school. Woodfin, for instance, was even named after a guy named Nicholas Woodfin. He was the largest slave owner in Buncombe County, and he owned over 2,000 slaves. So if the mayor and the local media are hell-bent on doing away with the Vance Monument, are they going to change the name of the city of Asheville, the streets, the parks, and the schools? And why is the mayor calling for the removal of the monument now? Why didn't she do this a few years ago? Well, I believe liberals like our mayor want historical Confederate monuments taken down because it exposes the truth of the Democrat Party. Every one of the slave owners I mentioned, including Samuel Ashe, of which Asheville is named after, was a registered Democrat. From the Civil War era all the way to the 1960s, the Ku Klux Klan was a strong arm of the Democrat Party. Meanwhile, these modern-day liberal Democrats blame conservative Southern Americans for the evil of Democrat atrocities. Mayor Manheimer, don't tear down Confederate monuments to erase the history of your party. If you want to tell the truth that there were slaves in the North and slaves in the South, and that Republicans put a stop to slavery, I think you will find that Southern Americans will support that factual addition to plaques on Confederate monuments. Let's tell Americans the truth about our history and don't hide it. Learn from it. I'm Chad Nesbitt, and I thank you.